you check the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird, and I'm here to discuss the brand new A24 release that some people are calling the best A24 movie ever. Some people said that it was the best film of Fantastic Fest, and some people are just saying it's a really great film. So I am talking about today Heretic. This movie stars Hugh Grant and two young actresses that I don't know the names of offhand. And those two names are Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East. And this was a strong movie, you guys. I'm going to get into this review like we do our normal reviews, which is our overall thoughts, the story, the acting, the effects, all of that good stuff in turn. And while I guess I can understand why some people are saying some of the things that they're saying, some of the glowing praise, because I'm going to have glowing praise as well. I just don't think it's the best movie of the year. I would give this probably 3.5 to 4 stars out of 5. And I would say that both Strange Darling and The Substance were more enjoyable for me, but this is in contention for probably top 5 or at least top 10. I loved a lot about this movie, but I have to say that when all is said and done, I wish that more had happened during it. Like, there's a lot to like about this film, but I gotta say, I wish more had happened in the process. So, getting into it without spoiling anything, because I definitely don't want to spoil this, but this film, as demonstrated in the trailers, is about two girls of the Church of Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ, right? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Mormon Church, of course. These are two missionaries out trying to convert people to the Mormon religion, and they go to this house where a Mr. Reed, played by Hugh Grant, answers the door and is more than willing to hear them out about their religion. Once they get inside, however, it's not long before they realize that perhaps not everything is what it seems, and it's not quite as easy to leave as they thought it would be. And as things progress, Mr. Lee starts to test their faith, so to speak. All of that is revealed in the trailer, so that is not any spoilers. But that's enough for me to say that I did enjoy the way the story played out. I was impressed with a lot of the things that they did. However, again, I feel like not quite enough was done. It was like an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. But I did feel the length at times. Like, there's a lot of tension building, a lot of slow moving scenes in order to build tension. But I needed a bit more happening in between these parts than we got. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed the story, and I liked that it wasn't anything like what I'd seen before. I mean, it might be similar to other things, but I'd be hard-pressed to call those to memory based on what I've seen. So I definitely enjoyed the fact that I didn't know quite where things were going to go. That's a new experience nowadays, because a lot of movies are very derivative or very predictable or both. This was neither of those things. To my knowledge, I don't think it's very derivative of anything else. And yeah, so I was very appreciative of it from that perspective. Again, I just don't know if there was enough that happened that I was like, that I'm able to like really go, yeah, this movie was awesome, right? Like, I walked out, I was like, okay, that movie was cool. It was clever. It was deeper than I thought it was going to be, but it was a lot of dialogue. It essentially could have been a Kevin Smith horror movie, because it was dialogue centric as fuck, and it was very reminiscent of Red State in a lot of ways. Hugh Grant had a very Michael Parks performance from Red State, and he was also in Tusk, and he was phenomenal in both. And Hugh Grant was really given the reins to just kind of do his thing, and his character was phenomenal. It's actually a good way to segue into acting. Hugh Grant kind of blew my socks off. He was so good in this role, and so unnerving in such a Mr. Rogers kind of way. And like you see that that's kind of what he's doing in the trailer, but you think that there's going to be a turn as far as him like going dark and stuff. But what's interesting is that while there are things that are uncouth that happen, he kind of remains that Mr. Rogers personality throughout. And I dug that. I actually was like, okay, this is really cool. He's making a lot of really interesting choices. And the material obviously helps him make those choices, but he was great. The two actors, the two lead actors, actresses, whatever you want to say, they were both really, really great. Both Sophie and Chloe did a phenomenal job in this movie. They were both kind of powerhouses in their own right, and they both were different enough that I really appreciated each of their unique deliveries. And luckily the story kind of kept things interesting and really gave these actors places to go. And you know, a movie, the real strength rises and falls with the script, right? If it's a weak script, there's only so much everyone else is going to be able to do to polish that turd. But if it's a good script, even less experienced filmmakers can come out with a diamond in the rough. Because a good script makes for a good movie, whether it's a well-made movie or not. You know, yeah, this is one of those where it's a good script and it's a well-made movie. I just personally didn't think enough happened, and that's like the reason I keep hitting on that is because it's kind of the only detriment I could find in the film. The story is engaging because the dialogue is really engaging. Again, it's kind of Kevin Smith-like dialogue where there's a lot of exploration of things that you've thought about, but you haven't thought as deeply. Kevin Smith's case, it's Star Wars and like the workers on the Death Star. Like he put more thought into that, and none of us as Star Wars fans in 1994 had put that much thought into it, right? Or maybe some of you did, but I hadn't. This is a similar thing where we've all thought about the things in this movie, but we haven't thought about them likely to the depth at which the writer has presented these things. And I really appreciated it for that level. But circling back to the acting, yeah, the girls were amazing and very believable, and maybe not quite as enigmatic as I would have preferred them to be, or at least, you know, have that be focused on, because they're, you know, at one point, you know, we're told that one of them is a bit more mysterious than the other, but we never really get to find out exactly why. Like, we get one person's idea of why, but is that the truth? I don't know. Again, I'm keeping it very vague for a reason, because I think this is very much worth experiencing. I think it's fun to experience in the theater, but there weren't so many reactions that you need to see it in the theater, but I do think the film is good enough to experience in the theater. But if you can't, it's not something that is best suited for the theater, like some big budget action movies and things like that. Sorry, let me turn the volume down here. It's supposed to be quiet, but anyway, the acting was really great throughout. The filmmaking was awesome. The cinematography was really, really cool. It was very well done, and I could tell at certain times I was like, oh wow. Like even just the presentation of two doors, right? There's two different doors that are possible exits, and they're presented in such a cool way. The whole scene in this one room that you do see briefly in the trailer, it's so cool, and I really appreciated how they told the story. I really, really did. So yeah, the cinematography was phenomenal. It was utilized to help tell the story, and one shot in particular that is shown in the trailer, but the context of it is really, really cool, and you don't get to see the whole shot in the trailer. So as it continues, they do something that they didn't show in the trailer, and I was like, oh, that's really neat. That's really neat. So yeah, there was a lot of really good ideas, a very well shot film. The sound design was great. The score, unfortunately, I can't say that the score particularly stood out. That's, again, not to say that it's bad, but it fit the movie enough where it just helped me stay engaged, as opposed to making me notice the score, whether for good or bad. I don't know if that in and of itself is a positive or negative for you guys, but I tend to not necessarily notice the score on my first watch through of a lot of movies, unless it really, really stands out like it did in The Substance or films like that. So yeah, the sound design and the score were great. The effects were really cool. I mean, there was a lot of good practical makeup effects, or, you know, one in particular, really. But there wasn't a ton of CG that they didn't have to lean into that. When we got the effects, they were practical, but really, I mean, this movie sings with its cinematography, its storytelling, its acting. It's a really, really good movie, and I could see why people would consider this the best. I just personally like The Substance and Strange Darling a little bit more, but this is definitely higher up than the majority of the films I've seen this year. Is it the best A24 movie? I don't think so. I could name a couple that I appreciate more, but it is a very, very good one. It is a very, very good one. And with A24, at least on this channel, having a bit of a mixed track record, it's nice to be able to come out and say that this is one of the strong ones for sure. So that's going to do it for my thoughts on Heretic. If you guys have seen it, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. The cool thing about it is that at the press screening, we actually got a little blueberry pie as we left. Mine's downstairs. I forgot to bring it up for the review. But yeah, the movie was a great time. It's worth a watch. If you want to go to the theater to see it, you're not going to lose out. It's not going to be a waste of money, but it's not necessarily necessary, right? So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird, and remember, stay scared.